Stay Sane with Jane, Season 2, Local Legends, the show that helps you to thrive, not just survive. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. to Season 2 and Episode 9. And today we are interviewing Rachel Wilkinson. So Rachel is a trauma-informed practitioner and trainer who uses the modalities of movement, yoga, sound, touch and talking as a means to support people navigating through the modern world. She's the founder of CYC, Create Your Community, a grassroots community project that offers people across the board access to wellness sessions. So welcome, Rachel.
Hello. Thanks,
Jane. Hello, it's an absolute pleasure to interview you.
Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Hey? It has.
Been a while. I know. I think you spoke to me about this a little while back, but it happens when it happens, right? So it's really lovely to be here.
Definitely. So let's dive in. Tell us a bit more about Rachel. So we'll dive into kind of business and the community, but tell us a little bit about you. Who's the person? Who's the person behind?
Who's the person behind the sort of chaos, really, in some respects, But yeah, I'm a multi-layered kind of person. I think most of us are. I come from quite a complex background with my own experience of trauma, addiction, and I sort of landed, if you like, through the wills of other people in so many ways, in Bournemouth. I think 2007. Yeah, I think 2007. And, my recovery kind of sort of had a few stops and starts, as is the nature of addiction and poor mental health. But I decided to stay here. There was something here that I knew was going to support me more greatly than if I went back to London, which is where I'd kind of come from. And so, yeah, the journey kind of started from that point. And I think first and foremost, my main purpose, if you like, is to encourage people to recognize that through the darkest of times, like, we can recover. And my door is always open in that capacity. So just in regards to that, it's like, if anybody is struggling with addiction or their family is struggling with addiction and poor mental health, my door is always open. And that is just what I see as my purpose in regards to other people doing the same thing for me. It's like, you pass that baton on, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's been 16 years. It'll be 17 years this year that I've been clean and sober. And yeah, that it's not been without its challenges, of course, and my own kind of experiences. I've dedicated like my time, my life to support people, to mainly support themselves. This kind of idea that I think the kind of quite archaic way of supporting people with poor mental health and addiction is this idea that they don't really know themselves, or they don't know what they need, and invariably, actually, through the work that I have done personally, but also professionally, is that, you start with, what do you not want? What do you not want in your life? And every person will be able to say something that is bothering them or is uncomfortable for them, or that they want to change, and that's just kind of starting blocks. And so much of my work now, my professional work, is walking alongside people, as you said, to sort of support them in navigating their world more effectively, So I guess my whole motivation for the setup of the project, my subsequent training and qualifications in sort of trauma-informed therapy has been born out of my own experience of being in that demographic, you know. And I
Yeah,
work.
totally. I find it very interesting that a lot of, like, up to the like 80-90% of the people that I interview, myself included, had addictions in the past, and went through their healing journey, and then that, you know, that's how they came into the holistic and well-being and spiritual world most of the time.
Absolutely.
um yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it, that many, you know, a huge percentage of our journeys are similar.
And I think for me, like, it was just that was the natural progression. And I think
Mm,
that's probably why, you know, a lot of people that find themselves in these sort of realms have had their own experience of challenge or trauma, because through that exploration of yourself, you know, you find stuff that works. And for me, like, it just felt like the most natural thing to do, to share that, to share
yes.
with other people. And I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I worked in mental health services for like 10 years before I left and sort of dedicated my time to the development of create your community. And I guess, you know, I'm in a sort of privileged position in so many ways, where, you know, I've been a user of services. I was a user of services for many, many years. I've then kind of like worked in those services, and now I've kind of stepped out, and, you know, I've become sort of the founder of this grassroots project, and self-employed. So
Yeah,
I'm running my
which
own
is
stuff.
a whole nother ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I was sort of joking before we came on the recording, like, you know, when you asked me to do it, I was sort of, you know, thinking about the term entrepreneur or the term business, and how
Mm,
little I associate what I do with those two terms, actually.
yeah, yeah,
You know, but in all intents and purposes, yeah, that is sort of what I'm doing. But I think probably through some past trauma, I resist certain terminology, and I'm like, I don't I don't want to be associated with that necessarily. But yeah, you know, yeah, it's a crazy thing to sort of be acknowledging that you're in those, yeah, you're rubbing along with those people, and you're in those worlds. When,
mm,
you know, not long ago, I suppose, you know, I was somebody that probably people would sort of walk across the road to not speak to, you know. So yeah, it's proof that, you know, this stuff does work. And as I say, you know, my door is open in that respect to anyone who needs support around that stuff.
yes. And could you tell us a little bit more about how you got started in the field, how CYC became, and the therapies you do as well?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, like, early recovery for me, when I look back now, I was so crazy. Like, I hadn't, in the early days of my recovery, you know, it was like 16 odd years ago now. And I think
Mm,
there's a big drive towards trauma, and there's a big drive to recover, you know, from trauma now. It wasn't really like that when I sort of came into recovery. It was just kind of like, I mean, yeah, I had therapy and stuff like that. I did, but my nervous system was just still absolutely driven by this fight or flight response. And I was
yeah,
just crazy, like running around. I was pretty much a workaholic as well. You know, this need to please, this need to prove myself was very prevalent in my early recovery. And yeah, just paying your dues, you know, like, it was really nuts. And so I was running around, I was doing all of this stuff, and You know, I think a friend of mine, I was literally running as well. So I was running, I was doing aerobics, I was doing all the things.
High
And
energy.
energy, like a military operation,
Yes.
honestly. I mean, I look back to that woman and God, I love her, but I
Yeah.
just want to hold her face and say, babe, it's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's all right. So a friend of mine kind of said, you know, come to yoga. And I was like, all right. And we used to like go on the Groupons because we had no money. So we'd like
Yeah.
go to these yoga classes with Groupon and we'd laugh all the way through. And, you know, I remember like a teacher sort of saying at the end of the class, you know, and the Shavasana, lie down. And through all the fits of giggles and for all the sort of disruption, I mean, they must have hated us, but I honestly think that is testament to why I do what I do now. And
Yeah.
I'll come back to that actually, because yeah, we were a bit disruptive, but by the end and lying down, you know, this little voice, this little tiny voice sort of was like, you need this in your life, you know. And as you know, as with the many times I wanted to get clean, I'd just run off and do the same thing again. It was one of those times.
Yes. Yes.
I just ran off and did the same thing. And then my mum died. And yeah, my mum died. I was, I think, nearly 2 years clean when my mum died. And I was right in it, right in the early throes of recovery, just completely traumatized and running around like a loon. And the thing where I found my solace and a place where I could just be whatever I needed to be was a yoga mat. And started to have this just profound experience with, you know, I was somebody who's completely disassociated from my body. Like my body had been this
Yes.
hostile environment,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and forever trying to escape it as well, you know, through one drug or one suicide attempt to another. Like, you know, I just not cared for my body. And yoga sort of gave me an opportunity to feel. And you know, there was many a time on my mat I'd just be crying, like, you know, I was in, you know, experiencing the grief of my mum, and it was all go. And I was working in mental health services, and
Yeah.
because of this experience that I'd had through the process of grief, I decided to approach the services that I was working in and to start yoga pilot schemes. And we were funded for a period of time, and it was amazing. The people I was doing talking therapy with who were accessing yoga were having a profound experience through healing on a much more rapid rate than those
Yes.
who were just in talking therapy with me. And of course, funding got pulled, or funding wasn't renewed, or one reason or another. You know, I was right in the middle of services sort of being amalgamated, funding being pulled. It was chaos. And that's when the idea for CYC was sort of born. I'd already started, because I did my teacher training in the meantime, with the sort of expectation of not necessarily being a teacher, but just being able to offer safe space for people who might be
Yes.
considered, you know, a little bit like wriggly, like I was, and that
Yeah.
not find themselves on a yoga mat so easily. So the community class, which is still running now, like that's like 8 years down the line, 9 years this year.
Wow.
And it was a stepping stone for those that were accessing yoga with me in services and who had that. It's a long journey from services to a yoga studio, like for some people impossible. And so
Yeah.
class became this stepping stone between services and studios. And it just started to build. And then all of a sudden it became for everybody. It wasn't just people with addiction. It was all sorts of kinds of people coming. And what I know was like these diverse groups had like a richness to it that didn't necessarily happen in set groups for set people. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have identification and that groups with people who identify with each other are really, really important. They are. But for me, where it's at is integration into your community. And so CYC was kind of born as a means to develop this idea of integration rather than having set donation classes. We would actually start providing donation spaces on classes and retreats and well-being sessions that were already happening.
Yes.
Yeah. And we actually started off as Community Yoga Collective. That's how we've started. But very quickly, over a period of time, I realized that one, yoga can be a little bit off-putting for people. It can. And two, it didn't explain what we did anymore because we were just doing loads of stuff. And so last year on our 5-year anniversary, we rebranded and we are now Create Your Community, cleverly, because it's still CYC.
Still CYC. Yay!
We did think about Cuddle Your Cat, but
we are
not
inclusive then of people that do not want to cuddle a cat.
Exactly. We might push some dog people away. So we wanted to welcome everyone. But yeah, so and then and I think the reason why it was so profound was because in services we rely so heavily on funding, and that funding can just be pulled away. And what I noticed was the people that had received like such benefit were then just kind of like falling through the gaps because there was no money to fund it. So the whole premise of CYC is that we are self-funding through fundraisers, through events, through public donations from the wider community, which I am forever grateful for. And that money basically then subsidizes people into classes, whatever they want to access. And then the teachers, because I don't know if you found this, and maybe you're the people who are yoga teachers listening to this, or just holistic well-being practitioners. So often people want you to do stuff for free.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've got rent to pay. I need to be paid. And so
it's that conversation about what's an entrepreneur, what's a business.
Exactly.
Again, isn't it? We do need to get paid.
We do
have bills.
I didn't want the teachers that were collaborating with CYC to be expected to just give donation spaces and lose money. So the community pot pays their top up. So basically, whatever the teacher is owed over the amount that the CYC member has donated, they just invoice us and we give them the money back. So it kind of it sort of supports teachers, and supports the accessibility of well-being. And I guess alongside all of that, obviously I'm a yoga teacher, done my training in yoga therapy, obviously my trauma-informed training, and I started to explore sound and touch. So I'm qualified sound and massage therapist. And then just of late, I've sort of put my talking therapy hat back on. And I'm working with some individuals with talking therapy. And that actually, it's been 5 years since I left working in services. And I think I needed a bit of a step away, in all honesty. In some ways, working in services was a trauma of its own. In some respect, it's really full on. The expectations are huge and you just burn out. So I needed some time away, but I feel really excited to sort of be offering talking therapy on a one-to-one basis with people who want to work with me. So that's the development for this year, really, is to start using all of these modalities as kind of a holistic approach to people's well-being. You can't work on the mind without working on the body, and vice versa.
Yes.
And I've started doing therapeutic movement, and it's amazing, somatic movement, things like that. So yes, the CYC has taken up a lot of my time, of course. The last 5 years has really been dedicated to that. But now I feel really confident and ready to kind of really sort of, kind of step up for myself, actually, for myself. I was saying to you earlier, it's easy for me to shamelessly promote CYC because it's for others. It's a
Yes, for the community. Yeah.
whole different thing, sort of promoting yourself, and I have struggled with that, in all honesty.
Yes, well done for acknowledging the struggle, and you are finding a way around that struggle.
Yeah.
So with your massage and the talking therapies, are they done in a home studio?
Here.
Or are they done elsewhere? Yeah. So that's where I see all my therapy holistic clients at home. So
Yeah.
I really like that kind of home
I
relaxed
do.
vibe.
I do. And it's interesting because, like, obviously in 2020, everything went online. And so people, like, not expecting it at all, but people were invited into my home all the time because I was doing all the yoga stuff here, and on Zoom and on Facebook Live and stuff like that. And what I realized, actually, like, I think one of the most accessibility is where my passion lies, and not only to the session itself, but also to me. To me as a person, like the relationships that are built. I often explain, like, the sessions that I run, merely the vehicle to connection. So yes, you might be coming to a yoga or a movement class, but what you end up finding there is community.
Yes.
And so when everyone's invited into my living room, which is so crazy, like, I mean, this is quite reasonable behind me, but I mean, the books and plants, and it's like a jungle in here. People liked it. People really liked it because I guess what it gave them was a sense of connection to me. And at a time when we were all really isolated, the feedback that I was getting was that it was a lifeline, to be invited into my space and to connect. And so, yeah, the massage and the talking therapy and all of that is in my living room, and it's a beautiful space. I love it. And what I find as well is that because of the sort of familiarity that comes from being in my home, is the level of communication and depth that I get with people who are coming for massage is amazing. And this room has just experienced so much joy, so much kind of heartache, tears, laughter, like, it's everything. And so, I mean, I do like walking and talking therapy.
Oh yes, I love that too.
I really love being out in nature with people, just taking a wander down the beach, and I'm also mobile. So I do pack up my bits, and I, take the massage stuff to people's homes. So yeah, I'm pretty flexible. I think when you have the sort of the motivation of accessibility, you have to be flexible because people need different things. And if you're rigid in one way of working, that literally just kind of like isolates a whole section of our society because they can't access it. So for me, it's like, if you're interested in anything I do, just get in touch and we work it out. We work it out together. Because the other thing that's really important to me with the work that I do is that it is a collaboration. It's not me saying I know best. It's about me supporting you, as I said earlier, to support yourself, because you have to become your own therapist. Anybody that is in therapy for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm being controversial here, but I just don't advocate that kind of therapy. I just don't.
I've got to say, what I have found, and you touched on it earlier, is for me, any healing journey will have more than one practitioner. It will certainly have more than one therapy. And I ideally like to see a combination of mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
everything, because we keep trauma in our physical body. It's the repeated thoughts, the words within our minds, the images, the flashbacks. And then it's that soul connection. And depending on your belief systems, past lives,
Yeah, you've
core
got
type attachments, it's everything, right?
the ancestral trauma to
Yes,
unpack too.
add
And I mean,
that in.
don't get me wrong, like if you're going, to therapy, and it's like, you're unpicking and you're uncovering, and it's an exploration, and I'm always in some form of exploration with somebody somewhere. And like I say, I've been doing this now for near on 17 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's not kind of what I mean. I don't want to put anybody off or offend anybody in that, in me saying I don't advocate for being in therapy for years. I think what I don't advocate is where the therapist is not encouraging the empowerment of the person who is sitting opposite them, or standing or moving opposite them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There has to feel like some movement, and to have that ability to manage your emotional well-being with more efficacy, right? It's like, and if you're continually going back with the same problem, that's what I'm kind of talking about. Sort of old school counselling. Do you know what I mean? Where you just sort of sit for ages. And so I feel like in my life, like I call them my entourage.
Love it.
They're my entourage. I've got this person for this, got this person for this, got some acupuncture going on, functional movement going on, a bit of cranial therapy going on. I've got some, talking therapy. I've got some of the and they ebbs and flows. What I need changes, but I'm always, I think from the moment like I stepped, or should I say dragged, I was dragged onto this path, really. I was pulled up literally under my armpits by my friend, off the floor. Come on. Yeah. And for me, like, since that time, every day I wake up with that commitment to, self-exploration, whatever that might look like. And I'm not suggesting that I still experience poor mental health, of course. Getting clean, it's not just rose tinted glasses. You then got to deal with the life that you were using to escape from.
Yes.
And that can be challenging. And as oversensitive souls, being able to manage these big feelings and often responding with a trauma response, there's a lot to sort of manage, and for me, like, I don't do it on my own. Thank God.
Thank goodness. Yes.
I don't do it on my own. I do it with some incredible support. So yeah, and if I can be just one kind of flagstone in somebody's kind of recovery from whatever it is, it doesn't need to be addiction, but just a flagstone to their journey to kind of thrive. Like, that's just such an honor, isn't it? Like, I'm just so humbled by the courage that it takes people to step into certain spaces, you know. And I guess that's again coming back to CYC, why CYC is intrinsically linked with the other work that I do, because, you know, it's about creating safe, non-judgmental spaces, and that you can turn up late if you want to, you can laugh, you can cry, you can do all of those things in my sessions, you know, because I needed
love
that.
in your sessions you always say something like, and if you just want to lie on your yoga mat, just do that, you know. So it's like, okay, I can do every single move, but if I don't want to, I can literally just lie down and just hear the music, hear your voice, watch
And
people, just be
around people. Sometimes we really need to be around people. And I had it recently with somebody, you know, who was going through such a turbulent time, such a difficult time, but they kept turning up, and they would come, they would do what they did, and then they kind of leave quite quickly. And I just linked in with them just to say, I'm here checking in. And they were kind of like, I know, but I know if you ask me if I'm okay, I'm just going to fall apart. Oh, and I said at that point, you know, thank God you're just turning up then. Just being here. Sometimes it's just about being around people and not feeling so alone. And that for me is I always say, whatever the headspace, there's space here for you. You know, like I'm so passionate about creating inclusive, safe spaces for people. That feel like home, you know, like it is just my and whether it be with CYC, whether it be my one-to-one stuff that I do, massage, like whatever it is, that underpins everything for me. Absolutely. And that's what I mean, both are intrinsically linked because they both come from me, right? They both come from me.
And would you say, is that, I always ask this question, what's your best bit of business advice? So is that the advice you'd give other, to be honest, listening, it's wellness, holistic, creative businesses. So it is the holistic approach and style.
There's a few things that pop up in my mind. You know, what's my best bit of business advice? It's like, know who you are and know what it is that you are offering. I remember in the early days of CYC, I went for some lunch with a guy. He was like a developer of buildings, if that's what you call it. And he'd had some sort of spiritual awakening, and he decided to do social housing rather than these big money projects. And we ended up having lunch. And he said to me, he said, what you've got is really important. He said, and people are going to want a bit of you. He said, and you're going to want to say yes to everything. Don't. Remember what your core values are. Remember who you are. Remember what you're aligned with, because there's always going to be people that want you to do something or to get involved in something. And I'm very excitable. And I'm like, yes, let's do that. And then I come away and think, actually, is that aligned with what I'm doing? No, it's not. So it's like, I read something really funny about, like, you know, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And then somebody's scrubbed that out and gone, do what you love, and you'll constantly be anxious, worrying about where your money's coming from, and like be worried what people think about you. And I was like, that's so freaking true. It's so
Yes.
true, you know.
It's
So
more realistic than the first quote, isn't
it
it?
is. And we're self-employed. I'm self-employed, so we work hard. It matters. What I do matters. So
And
I
you've got to do the
care.
whole spectrum.
Yeah.
You're the teacher, the manager, the cleaner, the IT consultant.
Yeah.
You're everything.
And I
If you're a
tell you,
solo business
yeah,
owner.
I tell you what I've learned. So first bit of like know who you are and what it is you're doing. Don't say yes when you mean no. The other thing is if you have the opportunity to delegate,
Yes.
it's a joy. It is a joy. I hate admin. I am the front person. I am the person who likes to communicate. Yeah. I hate doing websites. I hate doing admin. I hate doing social media, things like that. Right.
Yeah.
There are friends of mine who actually bizarrely love doing that stuff.
I'm one of them.
There you are then. So we can fill in each other's gaps.
Yes.
Honestly, the sort of the self-employed narrative is all things to all people, and we just buy into this kind of self-interest, consumerism, capitalism sort of push. It takes a village. Lean into your friends, lean into the people who fill in your gaps. You know, what am I good at? I'm going to do that. What am I not so good at? Hey, you want to like do co-working spaces are brilliant, you know, and you can like go, I do some stuff at Tosh. They do amazing like free co-working spaces on a Thursday where you can be with people and throw ideas around. And I love that, you know, I really love that. So yeah, don't say yes when you mean no. Know yourself and what you're offering. Delegate stuff if you can, and save your energy whenever you get the opportunity.
Yeah, really. If we're asking our clients to have massages, be mindful, take time out for yourself, take that bath.
Of course. Yeah.
We have to walk the talk too, don't we?
Yeah. Well, this June, I'm going to be bringing out, again, the exploration in trauma-sensitive practice for well-being practitioners. And essentially, we did it a couple of years ago, and it was beautiful. And essentially, it's like a retreat learning day to give the people that give all the time opportunity to receive, and actually looking at how important it is for us as practitioners to self-regulate, to know our responsibility and what's not our responsibility. And I by no means have that sewn up. Like, I'm dreadful for it. I really have to remind myself, or be reminded, to take care of myself. So we're all in it together, you know, and the more we can collaborate, which is another keystone to the stuff that I do, collaboration, the more we can stop replicating work and come together. You know, we're all replicating loads of work, and actually that's the premise of CYC as well. Nobody needs to do more work. Nobody needs to do more work.
Less is more.
It is, Jane.
So if we were to work together, let's look at CYC. Where do I find like what's going on with CYC? How do I, as a participant, get involved? And also, if I'm listening and I'm thinking, I want to get involved in this because I'm a teacher, a facilitator, how does it work?
So on our website, which is just createyourcommunity.org.uk, you will find everything there. Like, so I think it's like, as you scroll down, you'll see we've got a participate, collaborate, and a donate button. And so if
Amazing.
you are a participant, we have like criteria, but in all honesty, the criteria is so vast, and it also is relatable to historic challenges that you've had.
Yes.
You can just sign up. As soon as you click the waiver form with the sign up form, you go onto our mailing list, and then every month I send through the monthly schedule with all the stuff that is available to you as a CYC member. As a collaborator, if you have space that we can use for events, amazing. If you are somebody that wants to offer donation spaces on your already set up classes, you just click the collaborate button and it comes straight through to my email, and then I'll get in touch. All that we ask really from collaborators before getting in touch with us is to be able to commit for the month. So whatever it is you're offering, we have a lot of monthly sessions, which is great. But people who are offering, say, a weekly class, we need your commitment for a month. It is really not okay to pull out mid-month because, of course, the people that we are serving, the people that we are serving, they need consistency. You know, one of the biggest things about sort of trauma is a lack of consistency and consideration and care, and so we have to commit to this is what we're doing for the month, and then the following month, you know, I send out a little reminder to the teachers and that, do you still want to be on our schedule, yes or no? If not, I'll remove you. If you want to add more flavor, more offerings, go for it. I'll add it in. So yeah, it's all on the website, and you can delve a little bit more into my story and the motivation behind the project. Yeah, and also don't forget, donate.
donate.
Yeah, if you want to support, if you support our vision, we are 100% actually publicly funded. We receive no outside funding. So people that donate to us, it is you are us, you are the project. You afford people the opportunity to access stuff that would ordinarily be unavailable to them, and we are forever grateful for that. So yeah, if you feel you want to donate, please feel free.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay. And before we go, have you got an offer or any other top tips for the audience?
Oh, I don't know, you know. I don't know.
Do you want to talk about like how to get in touch with you about your one-to-one sessions?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm in the process of I've got my website up. It's not running though. So that will be coming out in spring. So keep an eye out for that. It's called Your Healing Space. So that's what I will be working under the heading of, is Your Healing Space. Yeah. And whatever that looks like. And so that will have loads more kind of, you know, ways to contact me and book on stuff. And you have to bear with me a little bit. Like I say, I just want to backtrack very slightly about advice. Maybe this is the advice now, but don't wait till everything's ready to go.
No, never. Yes.
It's messy. You know, CYC, I just drew the logo on a napkin and went for it. I had no T's and C's. I had no policies and procedures. It was a skeleton, and I built the flesh around it with the support of the people that it was supporting. It's the same as my own offerings, you know. It's like I've been putting it out there for a while. I've got no blinking website. Booking.
Do you know what? This is what stops and freezes people.
I know.
I love building websites and lead pages and automated emails and all that kind of stuff. However, you don't need it to make money.
No, and I honestly, all of the work that I currently have is through word of mouth.
That's the best.
It is through word of mouth.
Yeah.
When you're doing things like this, it's beautiful to have a little link and go click on the website, like I
Yeah.
have for CYC. And it just, it is about, I'm often very critical of like my ability to organize myself. And a friend of mine was like, you are organized. That is an old story you tell yourself. Look at what you've done with CYC. And the reality is as I said earlier, because it's not for me, it's like I can push it. All I've got to do is turn the energy that I've put into the project into my business. And I can do the website. I can do all of it because I've done it before. So it's so interesting, these old ideas we have about ourselves that, again, stop us from moving forward. So don't worry about crossing your T's and dotting your I's. All of that will come. And I also think that when you're doing this kind of work, if you've got it all sewn up already, you haven't asked the people who you're going to be supporting what it is they want.
Yes.
So much of what we do is research. What do you want? What is it that you need from me? What is it that you want to do with your life? What is it? How are you? Like all of these things. It's like if you've already got all of your stuff put together, you've allowed no room for flexibility or to ask anyone what they think. When we put the CYC website out, I did it on the proviso of like, we want feedback. This is a skeleton of the website. What do you want to see? And we want feedback. And the website that, you and your listeners will have a look at, hopefully, is the end product of a collaboration of all people. It's not
That's
just
beautiful.
not just
and
me.
My top tip is keep it simple. It needs to be functional. It needs to do what you want it to do, and what the client doesn't want some crazy complicated system to get through to get to you at the end. They want something really simple.
Yeah, because I do. I want something simple. If I get emails with loads and loads of stuff, I honestly don't read it.
Ditto.
Because it's too overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
So people I've got my socials. My socials are under Raw Yogi, actually. That was my old sort of name. And as I say, I'm sort of, sort of zhuzhing it up come spring. But you can find me on raw.yogi on Instagram. And obviously CYC is the same on Instagram and on Facebook. So feel free to do that. And if you want to email me, it's raw.yogi@outlook.com. For now, watch this space.
Fantastic. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk about CYC, create your community, and your healing space. All the links are going to be above, below, whether you're watching or listening to this. We've shifted down a gear, and today we're tuning into a mindful meditation with myself, Jane Scanlon, about dealing with addiction. So this meditation may bring up many old stories for you. So let's just bring some kind of awareness to why you're tuning into this topic and how your belly, chest and head feel when you reflect on this subject. Do any positive or negative stories pop up in your head? And do you have any visceral feelings associated with this topic? So addiction comes in many forms, and although it is different for everyone, it's also difficult for everyone. Let's begin by taking 5 deep breaths together, breathing in, expanding your belly as wide as you can, and exhaling any tension in your body. Breathe in relaxation and exhale judgment. Breathing in relaxation, exhaling judgment. And again, breathing in and exhaling. Let's take another deep breath together and listen closely to this very important message as you exhale and just continue to breathe normally. Even though hypnosis and meditation are powerful tools in overcoming challenges and facilitating change, it is up to you to help yourself and ask others for help during this powerful process. It will be up to you to set a schedule and to keep to your rehabilitation, marking your milestones and maintaining your sobriety. So let us begin. I invite you to find a very comfortable position, making sure you will not be disturbed. I invite you to scan your senses. Are you physically comfortable? Even if your mind is busy, you're inviting relaxation into it. It's important to know the root cause of your addiction, but sometimes you may be unaware. So as you breathe and relax, your conscious mind will let go even further, and the subconscious mind will be allowed to fully receive these positive affirmations. Breathing in and breathing out. I will overcome addiction safely. Breathing in and breathing out. I will work slowly towards this wonderful change. Breathing in and breathing out. I take my time and have compassion during the hard times. Breathing in and breathing out. It's easy for me to always keep the goal of recovery from addiction in my thoughts throughout the day. Breathing in and breathing out. I know that I have the power and the love within my heart to break free from this cycle and become who I truly am. Breathing in and breathing out. Subconscious, please help me fully understand the root cause of my addiction. Breathing in and breathing out. I know that I gain great relief by letting go of addiction. I understand that withdrawal symptoms can be dangerous, and therefore I allow others to care for me in order to let my body and mind recover. Breathing in and breathing out. So now that you have relaxed so well, take a moment to listen to any messages that may need to come through to help guide you towards your goal. In times of intense temptations, it is our solid relationships that can carry us through the storm. It's your responsibility now to ask these individuals to help you when you need it. And it's vital that you do so. Community and connection are key to freedom. Reach out. Do this from now on, and do not hesitate to ask for their connection. These people are delighted that you have asked them and honoured that you trust them. Imagine this person now helping you along the way. Revel in the kindness and the love and consideration they show you. Hold on to that feeling of community and connection. You deserve freedom. And now you must believe in yourself. If you are truly willing to let go of these destructive addictions, wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a deep, long hug. Take 3 deep breaths, thinking of the gain and what you will receive by letting go completely of this addiction. Because you are gaining great power, which will stabilize your life and ground you into a beautiful future. The future you can make of what you will. So another deep breath together, grounding in to love, connection, community. I'll finish with a quote as you continue to hug and hold yourself. Emptiness is a symptom. You are not living life creatively. And that's by